So that was the second part about books. So now we're going to move into that third category of finding articles. And at this point, I'm actually going to back us back out, and I'm going to go to the library homepage and go back to this original tab that'll be highlighted when you come to this page is OneSearch. Now, OneSearch is a really nice platform because it searches across many of the subscription databases that we get, along with the library catalog. So what do I mean by that? We have many, many databases. We have over 100, several hundred databases that we get. And we have our catalog, and we have tens of thousands of journal articles. So this is an interesting way to start to search. Oh, and I want to show you a couple of things when I'm doing searching. So philosophical imagination was an interesting term I saw looking through your syllabus. So I'm going to hit search at this point. And if I spelt things right, then we're going to get a lot of results here. And I must have spelt something wrong. Yeah, let me put the O in. Okay, so now this is a really interesting conundrum that we get, right? And this is what I was sort of saying earlier, is that I was always looking as an undergrad to expand my searches. For you guys, there's no way you want to look at almost 400,000 search results. So one of the things that we can do is we are looking at these and we see, okay, philosophical imagination, here's just got imagination in it, here's got philosophical, and then not related to imagination. So if we're looking for a particular term, you want to put things in quotes. So instead of looking for philosophical and imagination, now it's going to look for it as a combined topic area. And we're down to somewhat more manageable 1,600 articles and results, which is still way more than you want to read. So the point that I'm trying to make here is think about your topics, think about the aspects that you want to look at, and then use the database functionality to really help you refine what your search results are going to be. So over on the left-hand side, we've got some ways that are going to point us towards limiting our searching. We can go just to our catalog, but we've already looked for books, so that might not be what we want to do. We can limit to peer and scholarly articles, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second, what those are. However, in your case, you guys are going to do a reflection piece, so you may want personal narratives. You may want those things that aren't necessarily considered scholarly, so we don't necessarily want to use that to revise. One thing we can think about is publication dates, whether we want to go back that far to about almost 200 years at this point. But I would recommend that you come down a little bit further and you look at some of these things. So by source, we certainly don't want reviews. We may want books, we may want magazines. So we can look at those. We can also hit this show more and get more search results. And then we can just start to define and narrow our searches a little bit further. Another aspect that's really interesting to look at is subjects. So here we're starting to see where these search results are coming from. We can go to a search more, and then we can see the top ones are going to come up first, so nonfiction, then philosophy, and we can kind of see the long tail of all of these things and where they're related to. And we can click on multiple ones of these and update our search. Another way to approach this from OneSearch is going by the publication type. So if we know that we want to look at things from a certain perspective, so maybe not so much religion, but maybe we do want to look in this journal of religious, or sorry, we didn't want religious as much. We want philosophical studies, and we want philosophical quarterly and the history of philosophy. So you get the point, we can kind of do these and update. So that's another nice way. I just expanded my screen a little bit too far. So these are some really nice things that you can use on the side. And then the really key one for you guys may be this limit by database. Because now, like I said, OneSearch is looking across so many of our databases. We can see which ones might be a little bit more focused in on what we want to look at. And what I'm finding very amusing here is, let's go to the show more. because we actually have a couple that are very, very important for philosophy, including the Philosopher's Index. And I am not seeing, they're not alphabetical. Oh, here we go, MLA, which is the Modern Language Association. So we can limit just to those databases if we wanted to. So of all of our search results that we have currently, let me see, we can come back up here to the Philosopher Index and just hit update. And now we're looking at those 23. So this is one way that you can really use the database functionality to help you get to the articles you want. And what's really interesting thing about this is that some of these articles point us directly to the full text. Some of them give us this full link, and some of them give us some subject areas, and as well as giving us a brief abstract. So this first one, I can tell by looking at it that it's a book because it's got because of the way the citation is written. And that's why it's not linking us to the full text, because it's a book. The second one is Journal of Philosophy. So that's why we have these really nice full text links right here. So that's a little bit about navigating through OneSearch. Let's go back to our guide for a minute. And this is our guide here. So finding articles. So I didn't put the OneSearch here, but I did point to these. So you can, in addition to searching Philosopher Index through OneSearch, you can also go directly to it and search this way. And then you're here. Now you'll notice, and this is really important, is when we search here, we can go to advanced search. We can get some of these extra boxes, but it's always searching OneSearch for us. If we come over to an individual database, we can actually say, we can build a set and we can add in more of these databases, but it doesn't have to be everything that OneSearch is. So again, another way to think about limiting what we're getting into. So we could include MLA here if we wanted to with the Philosopher's Index and hit OK. The other thing we get is really important, like I was saying with the dictionary, the encyclopedia, is to think about where you're looking for terms, right? So if we have a person's name, then we may not want to search everything. We may want to limit to author. And then what we're getting is just the things written by that individual. So now we have things written by that individual, right? So that's a really nice way to go. If we didn't do it by author, then what's going to be included are things, are comments that people, select a field. We wanted all text. Let's go back here. What we're going to do is include then things that may have been written by, did I do this right? Other people that are then commenting on this author will be included in this sort of a search. And I'm not seeing it quite at the minute. But so please pay attention to options over here as ways of combining things. And that is a really nice, so what do I want to say here? So the next thing, this isn't a book. Let's see if we can get down here. This is another book. That's why it's giving us the Tutt links. Okay, so this one is also in a book. Let's do a bit of a broader sort of look at things. And here, this might be a better example because this will be an author who has written things, but also has things written about him. Great, so here's somebody writing about him. And I was trying to find something that wasn't a book to see how we're going to find it. Okay, this is a journal article. So then it's not giving us the full text here. We're gonna hit on this Tutt link. We subscribe to journals from a lot of different places. So different vendors are selling us access to these journal articles. So even though that full text wasn't listed in our search results, we are actually getting to the full text here. And we can see that there's a PDF. Another interesting thing oftentimes in databases is that they have tools, and tools also usually include an export citation. And this is the next piece that we're going to talk a little bit about, is here's how to write your citation, right? And typically, and this may be because of the database that we're in, it's not giving us a lot sometimes it'll say, do you want to use Chicago? Do you want to use APA? Do you want to use MLA? Because there's different citation styles. But you can cut and paste these citation styles. And that was under the tool aspect in this database. What if you have a citation like this? We can use this thing here, this other tab that we haven't talked about yet, which is Journal Finder to find journal. So I'm going to paste in the citation, and it might be that that's too much. So let's see if that was too much for it. Yeah, it didn't like that. So what we're going to need to do is paste in the name of the journal that we want to get to, because this is a journal finder, so it's looking for the journal. We're going to take all this out. And then we hit search, and it will take us to a list of journals. It actually didn't take me where oh, you know what I did? You guys are learning all of the ins and outs of what the problem is. When I pasted that in, I left it in OneSearch instead of going to journals. But actually, OneSearch will work really well for us if we take out this information here and just have the title of the article. And we can probably leave in the author as well in OneSearch and hit search. If we have access to the article, it will show right up for us. So OneSearch is lovely, and that's a great place to start. However, if we have less information about it, or we only know the journal title and we want to check it that way, then we can use the journal finder as a second backup means to look for things. And then I have to be, like I said, make sure I'm plugged in there, take out the title, and take out the volume page number information, and then just look for that journal title, and then see and track through that way when we get to philosophy and literature, and then look for the correct volume number and look for the pages. I don't remember, let's go back here for a second. I can get this a little bit smaller. Oh, I just got rid of it now. OneSearch. I'm gonna have to do this again. This is what you do when you're not, okay, so here it is. And it's volume 33. So when we come over here, we need to go from philosophy and literature to go to volume 33. And why am I, here's access full text. And it's coming through a different vendor now through Project Muse. And then we'll track down through here to volume 33. So you can see why, depending on how things are coming. Do you guys remember, was it volume 1 or volume 2? Or issue 1, issue 2, does it say? Yep, issue 1 and then page 167. So 33, issue 1. So these are two different ways that we can track through, and then we start to see all of the articles that were written, and they go up by page number, so we need to scan down, and here it is. So those are two ways to track. The first being OneSearch. That's great. Just type your title in, and usually it'll pop up. If for some reason it doesn't, you can track through that journal finder to find it that way.